Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, Tomcat Stitchery. I'm Whitney, and before we go to today's video, which is such a good one, I can't wait to show you the newest Itch to Stitch pattern. But before we get into that, today is Friday and we have a Feature Friday pattern for Love Notions, and that pattern is the Lincoln top. Guys, this is such a cute beyond basic knit top. I've made it twice. Once as one of the views, and then I omitted the buttons and made a sew the look in a white sweater knit. That turned out really, really beautiful. But it's got multiple sleeve lengths. It's just got that really cool like hem, asymmetrical kind of hem with the buttons. You can do it sleeveless and kind of embrace the vest trend that is huge right now that we're seeing everywhere, like the pullover vest trend. You could actually mash it with the new Evanston vest if you have that pattern. That could be kind of cool. Like maybe mash a neckline of the Evanston with the body of the Lincoln. That could be a really cool mashup. Anyway, the pattern is $5 today only, and when you use my code Whitney10, you can get an additional 10% off that sale price. So if you're looking for a little knit top as you're starting to sew your spring wardrobe, or fall if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, wanting something a little different than just a regular t-shirt, this is a great pattern to look into. All right, let's go talk about my new trench coat. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Tomcat Stitchery. I'm Whitney, and we've got a pattern release for today. Itch to Stitch has released their newest pattern. It is the Acari, I think I'm saying that right, trench coat. Guys, this is perfect. It is everything I wanted. I've been wanting a really well-fitting, just traditional trench coat. I have my green one that I did that's a little bit longer. It's a Vogue pattern. I don't know, it's been a few years ago now. It's still in my closet. I still wear it and that sort of thing. It's just a little bit more of a stylized type trench coat. But I have been wanting a classic trench coat, specifically red, for the longest time, and just haven't wanted to bother with Cashmere has one that looks amazing, but it's in the original size range, and I fall right outside of that, especially right now, and I wanted a really well-fitting one. So when Kenneth announced that she was doing this test, I jumped all over it. Absolutely. Kenneth is a fantastic pattern drafter. Her instructions are impeccable, and I knew that if anyone was going to do this pattern justice, it was going to be her, and I was not wrong. Guys, okay, so I have, like I said, been wanting to make a trench for a while, and it's a trench coat. It is a classic staple. You find them more stylized, you find them more traditional, pops of color. I'm going to post, I found a whole bunch that were really ticking boxes for me for spring, and just to give you some ideas, just in fabrication, you could do a trench in a fun print. You could do it, typically you think of like a khaki colored or a kind of a beige Burberry style light tan trench coat as being kind of the stereotypical color. But I saw some that were looked like that from afar, but up close they were like a herringbone or a houndstooth or just like a micro print almost to give a little twist. I found one that was different fabrics, like it almost like a stash buster. Everything was very tonally the same, but it used different fabrics for the different, the sleeves. It was a raglan, and this isn't a raglan pattern, but just how you could really incorporate some color blocking, I guess, in that. I found a red one in leather or pleather, either or. Minerva has that wonderful pleather. You could easily do this jacket in that. Denim. There's so many great things, so many great things that you could use, this pattern for. I found one that had a faux fur collar. Like if you did faux fur on this area and then on the facing, but you wouldn't have to split the facing because you wouldn't want the fur to go all the way down to the hem, but you could split the facing like where it would typically, break, where the pattern like breaks when you were wearing it open. Anyway, so many different options. I kind of went down a rabbit hole, but I have been wanting a red trench coat for quite some time. And when she sent this pattern, I immediately went to my fabric stash, and I have had this wool suiting in my stash. I'm not even entirely sure where it came from. I think it came from Metro Textiles in New York, from their website, and maybe a couple years ago that I was buying a couple of, I like to buy silk and stuff from them. That Kashi's got some really great stuff. It's just a little bit, you never know what you're going to find kind of type thing. So I never go there like looking for something specific really, sometimes, but usually it's just to browse, and I'll see something really beautiful. that I think will be great for the stash or great for a particular project. Anyway, he had, I think it was him that had this fabric, this suiting, and I immediately grabbed 3 or 4 yards. I still have some left, so it may have been 4 yards of it, thinking that I wanted to, I don't know, do like a blazer and pants or something. I just thought it was really beautiful, and it was perfect for this project. So there's a little bit of stretch in this. You do not need stretch for the actual pattern, but there is a little bit of stretch in this. Other than that, it is wool. Wool with a little bit of elasting. And I would call this a wool suiting. But because it is a wool suiting, so like a worsted wool weight, it is very tightly woven. So this is what men's suits are made of, men's jackets. And because the fabric is so tightly woven, it is resistant to wrinkles, which is why they do men's suits in this, because when you're sitting and standing, it just makes, you know, things stay put a little bit better. But also because it is so tightly woven, it also repels water. Just a little bit. Now, if I were in a downpour in this, it absolutely would get wet. But, you know, just for like a little light sprinkle, the water does bead up a little bit. In fact, it was a little bit of a problem when I was pressing seams because the water would bead just a little bit. Anyway, this pattern has been, the details on this are just impeccable. Everything works. I'm going to open this up. The footage I filmed of me doing the twirl in mine, I tried to get some nice, good, up-close detail photos so you could see. So we're going to go through the pattern, and then I'll tell you, well, I made the size 8 with the full bust cup. Sorry. I do 8 with the D cup with itch to stitch normally. This has a standard front or a full bust front just because there's ease in there. I did the size 8 with the full bust front. I shortened the body 1 inch at the waist, and that was it. I raised the waist by 1 inch, and that was it. And then with the sleeves, I shortened the sleeves by just a 1/2 inch, and that was perfect. So that is all I've done altering this pattern. So the pattern features these really beautiful epaulettes here at the top. We'll start at the top and work our way down. And they're functioning. Like I can unbutton them. I mean, I don't have any like stripes or, you know, commander's bars or whatever to go on there, which was the function of them originally. I'm pretty sure the trench coat it's a navy, from the Navy. It is where it originated from. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that that is the case. It's got this beautiful collar with this, that stands up so beautifully with this really tall collar stand. And the bottom of the collar, look at that lining. You use the lining for it. And I was hesitant because I went with this for my lining, about maybe I should order some lining that was a closer match to the fabric. But I really like that. I'm glad that I stuck with what I went for. We'll talk about the lining a little bit more here in a second. It features the gun flap. I don't know why it's called the gun flap. I guess your gun was I don't know. That actually has a functioning button. So when this is undone, that's how you take everything off. I will probably, I don't know, maybe if it's like really windy and chilly one day, maybe I would button it all the way up. I don't hate it buttoned all the way up on me. That's just not typically how I'm going to wear it, I would assume. It's double-breasted, so it's got functional buttons, 5 of them on this side. So these are all functioning. These are just, you know, dummy buttons. They don't have any function. But on the inside, that I'll show you in a second, it does button in a couple places on the underneath as well. It features these beautiful welt pockets. These were so much fun to sew. Her instructions are wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. But they button closed here. And then you unbutton them. It's just the coolest pocket. And they're really big. They're really big pockets that are there inside the coat. So 2 of those on each side. The full bust front has darts. I don't think the standard bust does, but the full bust front does have darts. And then you have the option for belt loops and like a little wrist belt, which I obviously did, the optional wrist belt. And you can make your own regular belt. And I put the little belt loops on there as well. I had so much fun making these belts. I used my press to do the grommets for all of the for the prong, and then my pronged buckles came from the buckle guy. I will link that all down below. I had a little trouble finding buckles, and honestly, this is a heavy buckle, but I wanted a prong buckle, and I really wanted antique brass. That's where it was getting me. I could find silver buckles that were probably lighter weight at Wawak and Amazon and stuff like that, but I wanted the antique brass, and I was having a harder time finding the color I wanted. Technically, the belt is 2 inches wide, and you need a 2-inch wide belt buckle. I really liked this belt buckle, and I could only find it in the 1.5 inches, And I'm like, honestly, 1.5 inches is about as wide as I want my belts, period, like even regular belts. So I thought this is actually, I'll just shrink down the belt piece. And I did. I just shrunk the width down 1 inch or 1/2 inch so that I got an 1.5 inch belt instead of a 2 inch wide belt. And then the little straps here, you need 1.25 inch belt buckle. So you do need to be able to find belt buckles that come in 1.25 inch interior width as well as 2 inch, or in my case, 1.5 inch belt buckle. But they were so much fun to make. Okay, and then on the back, we've got the back flap here that is lined with the lining as well. Kind of going off. And then it's got a kick pleat. Can you guys see that? The kick pleat. And she's got fantastic instructions for that. Obviously, as you can tell, it is a fully lined coat. So let me open it up now so you can kind of see everything. Woo. Okay, like I mentioned, there are you sew buttons on the inside here and here on the first and third, and then there's buttonholes that correspond just to keep everything in place when you're wearing it completely closed. But like I mentioned, it is completely lined. Now let's talk about this lining. So this is a silk lining, and this came from my mentor Joyce's stash. It's like a jacquard. So there's like a floral print jacquard, and then obviously it's got the tulips on it. And I have it in my stash, and I thought, I was just saving it probably for lining because it's a little girlier than what I normally would wear like in a blouse because of the jacquard and the print, but I thought the print was beautiful. And when I was looking for a lining for this and I came across this, I'm like, first of all, the colors are perfect. Second of all, it's tulips, and what's more spring jacket appropriate than a tulip? And the color of red that pop up in here go with the jacket perfectly. It was meant to be. I did not have enough for the sleeves, which is fine. So I just used another fabric from my stash for the sleeves, but I don't really care that they don't match because you don't ever see those. So the shoulders have light shoulder pads in them, and she shows you how to insert those. There's a pattern piece for a sleeve head that goes into the cap of the sleeve, which makes a gorgeous hanging sleeve. And I used scraps of a wool coating that I had in my stash for my sleeve heads. So she's got the pattern piece. She walks you through it, but I just used scraps of a wool coating that I had. But you can use felt, you can use fleece, anything that's got a little bit of bulk to it, but it's soft, And then there's a really cute little hanging tag here in the back that you put in. Gosh, I think that's about it. It's just really beautifully finished on the inside as well as on the outside. Again, the details on this are just superb. Kenneth's is such a really good idea. All right, so if you are thinking, because I'm going to be honest, this took me a bit. I did an afternoon where I cut out the pieces and fused everything together. I used the medium weight interfacing from Palmer Pletch for the inside, for all the interfacing pieces that were required. And except for the hems. The hems, she wants you to use a lightweight, and I use the Palmer Pletch sheer for my hems. So for the sleeve hem and the hem of the jacket. But it took a bit. But I just want to say, do not be too scared to try this project. Do not think, oh, I'm just an adventurous beginner, or, I've never made a coat before, or whatever the case may be, because it is just like reading a recipe, folks. You just go one small step at a time. And Kenneth's instructions really are fantastic, walking you through and holding your hand, which a lot of times I skipped instructions. But because I'm a pattern tester, I do have to go through the instructions because I'm also, making sure the instructions make sense and all that kind of stuff as well when I'm doing that. And she does a really great job of holding your hand through this project. Is it a big project? Absolutely. It may take you a long time to get through it, but if you just break up the steps one at a time, do each one, I think you'll be very surprised how all of a sudden you've got a beautiful coat and yay, you did it. So don't be scared to try something a little bit harder. It's just sewing. It's just straight seams. And there's a lot of them. There's a ton of instructions in the pattern. Oh, I can't even remember how far it goes. 150, like actual instructions, I think, when it all goes through, something like that. But yeah, just go one at a time, chunks of time, and you will be shocked at the fact that you are able to also construct something like this. So don't be nervous. It was not hard. In fact, I really enjoyed digging my teeth into like these welt pockets were so fun to sew. And it's been a minute since I've done something a little different and technical like that, and just getting precise sewing. I had a lot of fun making this. It was needed. It was time. I needed a project a little bit like this. I think I'm done making coats for a while. I kind of made a lot this winter and, now, but I cannot wait to pull this out this spring. I can just already tell that I'm going to be wearing the living daylights out of this. I can't wait to style it. I can't wait, to have this in my active wardrobe as we go into spring. When will I be wearing spring things? Maybe not till April, but that's okay. It'll be here when the weather changes. Anyway, that is the Acari trench. I highly recommend you take a look. I do have an affiliate link that's in the description box below. I just get a small commission if you are going to buy the pattern. I do get a small commission if you use the link that's in the description box. Other than that, let me know if you have any questions. There's so many great fabrics you could use for this project. The testers made some really beautiful ones. If you're wanting something to really sink your teeth into for 2025, as far as your sewing resolutions, this would be a fantastic project, especially if you, like me, really wanted a trench coat in your wardrobe as well. It's a good one. Okay, guys, that's all I had for today. I hope you have a wonderful day. Get some sewing in, and I will see you all next time. Bye.